in general, what we're going to do, guys, is we're going to go over a VTB in general. Okay, so we're going to use Sarah and Donnie's example and their numbers of what they're working on now, just to give them an idea of how it can play out here. But you can change this to suit whatever you're working on. So the idea, first off, Sarah, do you know if they're talking about a first place mortgage or a second for a VTB?
We haven't gotten that far, and we're actually kind of confused on which stage we should be asking that question or putting in the offer, because right now we're just dealing with their realtor. I literally just asked the question on to their realtor.
Nice. Okay, so you're dealing with their realtor, not your realtor dealing with their realtor dealing with them.
Correct.
Okay, so let's start from that point then. Okay, so let's start from there where you're talking to the realtor. You said, hey, was it possible? And they said, sure, if you send this a number, everything's for sale, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
perfect.
how it happened.
Perfect. Okay. So question you should ask the realtor, and he should not tell you this, but most will. The question you should ask them is, do you know if they are willing, do you know what they plan to do with that money if they need it all up front? Do you know if they are willing to hold for 5 years? Do you know if, like, you just get real curious about the people, and they'll answer those questions. Ideally what you want to know is, why are they selling? And a realtor should not answer that question on behalf of their clients. They should not, but probably 50 to 60% do easily. They'll tell you. So always ask the question. Once you know, you're going to have more of a better idea. So I want to preface this by saying, first off, that VTBs are really tough to do right now. Second place, third place VTBs are tough to do because I don't know of any first place mortgage holders, banks, that will allow them. You would have to check with your lender, whoever's going to be your first place lender, and check and see if they will allow for secondary beneficial interest. That's generally what it's called. If they will, then we're in business. If not, you're going to have to approach the seller to do a first mortgage VTB. So basically finance the whole deal.
So we did get a private lender who's willing to do first mortgage.
Perfect. And the numbers work. The interest rate that they're asking is okay.
They're asking, so I'm going for a mortgage broker and they'd like to see a 20% VTB.
Okay, so they're going to give you 80%?
Yeah.
And you'll be 100% financed?
Yeah.
Sweet. Okay, perfect. So you've got that already done. So guys, perfect. So for those of you that are listening, that's your first thing is, will my first lender allow me to do this? In your case, yes. So good job. Perfect. Okay. So if you take a look, these are numbers that Corey put together based on the numbers that you sent. And this again is just an example. Now, using these spreadsheets, the beauty of it is that you can play with the numbers and everything adjusts for you, right? So I know that you played with it already. Here's the basic premise though behind a VTB. At the end of the day, it's these numbers down here that you want to highlight to them. You're going to structure you can use these numbers as a start if you want, but you're going to structure your VTB to lean them toward the one that you want them to choose. So in this case, the one that's going to give them the most money in the end is going to be structure C. And the reason that that's fantastic for you is because that means they're going to carry a full down payment. Let's say you can adjust these numbers. If your first lender is fine with the 20%, then just adjust these numbers to be 20%, whatever it might be. Do one with no VTB, one with a big VTB, and one, with the 20% VTB. But no matter what, make sure that this number down here, at the end of the day, the one that you want them to choose, immediately they look at it and go, wait, 600 to 667, that's huge. I want the 667. What do I have to do to do that? And then that's when you go into explaining.
So you have an example in the dashboard as well with an RSP added onto it. What would that look like?
Okay, so
30% if it was in their tax bracket.
Yeah. Okay. So we actually deleted that from this one, but basically, I'll explain that one. What
would you still offer something like that? Like, does that look more, I don't know, attractive?
For sure. So, okay. So basically here, I'll just add it in here. So basically if they turned the VTB into an RSP. So it now becomes a VTB RSP. I did that backwards. Then what happens is they get the write-off of whatever amount they're holding back. In option C, they would get a write-off for $85,000. Okay. In option B, they would get a write-off for $40,000. In option A, they get no write-off. So what this does is the higher their VTB, the more of a write-off they get. So let's say they're 40,000 and they're in a 30% tax bracket, or if they're in a 50% tax bracket, that amount of money they're going to get back on their tax return. So let's say that they're in a 50% tax bracket and we're talking about option B, their VTB is 40,000. Well, now they're going to get back on their tax return another 20, let's say, okay, if they're in a 50% tax bracket. This is going to be cash that CRA sends them. So now option B, they're getting 642 in this option rather than getting 622. Oh, I could have known that. That is basically where this comes back to them, not from you. This comes back to them from the government, and it comes back to them after they've filed their taxes. So, and it only comes back to them in that first year. So now if you were to do this one and they're in a 50% tax bracket, you can see how the numbers can go up and down just by playing with them. But with the RSP VTB, most homeowners will get confused. So the first step is asking, again, finding out the motivation from the realtor, the fact that they're open, tell them you want a 20% VTB and show them this, show them your offer sheet with a 20% VTB being your best option and the most money that they're going to earn, even if you have to pay them more interest. Get them to choose that option. Once they choose that option and understand it, if you're working with their realtor, you can ask for a meeting with them as well, with him or her there. And then once they fully understand that, don't bring up anything else until they do. Then you can say, okay, so I know a way where we can make this even sweeter for you. We'll have to walk you through it a little bit, but it basically means that you can use this amount, the VTB amount, as a write-off. Do you want to explore that? And if they say yes, then again, you leave it. Like, don't do all of this in one conversation. And if they say yes, then that's where you can come back to them with a second offer sheet that has the VTB option in there or the RSP option in there. It's going to be the same sheet that they looked at before. 90% of it is already making sense. Their mind is clear. And now all they have to do is understand one little bit.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Good luck. That's really exciting.
It is very exciting.